The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. This poem was published in the year 1919, and without wasting a further ado, let's dive into the video and listen to what the poet is trying to express in this poem line by line. So, turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. It means that the gyre, the spiral, is continuously turning and turning, and it's widening continuously. And the result of this turning of the gyre, the spiral, is that it is widening. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. It means that the falcon is a name of a bird, and it is not hearing the commands, it is not listening to the commands of his falconer. Falcon is the owner, right? So the falcon, the bird, is not hearing or not listening to the commands of his falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. That the chaos, the anarchy is continuously growing, and the central government is losing control over all the people in that area or in that country. So the chaos and anarchy is continuously increasing and growing, and the center is losing control over it. Mere anarchy, that means only anarchy. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. That means only anarchy is loosed upon the world, and it can't be controlled. It is loosed upon the world. That means it cannot be controlled. The blood dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drawn. That means if anarchy is loosed upon the world, what will happen? That everywhere there is blood tide, and everywhere there is innocence. Everywhere the people are very innocent, and they are drowned into their innocence. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. That means the best people now they are hopeless, because nothing is going to come as good as they were expecting it to be. So the best people now they are hopeless, and they are broken from inside, that nothing is going to be good enough. And the worst people, the bad people, they are passionately doing wrong task. So the good people are now hopeless, and they are broken from inside. And the worst people, they are passionately doing wrong task, or doing wrong things. Moving on to the next stanza. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. So the poet here is trying to describe that surely some revelation, disclosure is going to happen. And in the second line, he's saying that the second coming is going to happen. That means he is quite sure that the birth of Jesus Christ is going to happen soon. The second coming is going to happen soon. This second coming, might be there would be a person or who had talked about it. Okay. uh, Next line. The second coming, hardly are those words uttered out, when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. That means the way as the words were uttered out by the poet, by William Butler Yeats, the second coming, जैसे ही ये words the second coming बोला poet ने, hardly those words were uttered out, what happened? That there was a vast image, there was a very vast image of Spiritus Mundi. Spiritus Mundi is what? A kind of sphinx that is a head of a human and body of lion, which troubles my sight. Somewhere in sand of the desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man. So here the poet is talking about a Spiritus Mundi, a sphinx that is a head of a human and a body of lion, which troubles his sight. Means according to the poet, there is some problem going on. There is something disaster or something important, significant movement is going to come. a shape with law and body and head of a man that I have already discussed about Sphinx. A gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, that somewhere far away in the sands of desert, the Spiritus Mundi is coming. It is looking like that he is emotionless and pity as the sun in desert. The sun is compared here to Spiritus Mundi, that the sun in the desert is, it is totally emotionless and pitiless, as Spiritus Mundi is also looking like that only. And he's moving and continuously moving and slightly moving his thighs. Okay, uh, real shadows of the indignant desert birds, that means all around the desert birds, real indignant desert birds means, indignant means dissatisfied, the birds that are not satisfied, there are all around the dissatisfied desert birds. They are flying in the sky and their shadows are forming in the desert and they are screaming by watching the Spiritus Mundi. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. The poet here says that the dissatisfied birds, desert birds, are flying in the sky and their shadows are forming in the desert and they're screaming by watching the Spiritus Mundi. And the darkness drops again. But now the poet knows that 20 centuries of stony sleep was irritated. That was vexed. Vexed means irritated. That 20 centuries of just stony sleep थी ना Christ की, that was vexed, irritated by the moving of Spiritus Mundi, who was on a rocking cradle because he thought it was a nightmare, and but he didn't woke up. Okay, he didn't wake up yet, so he is looking totally, that Spiritus Mundi is totally looking like a violent animal. And when he was moving, what happened कि Christ की जो नींद है वो खुल जाती है. Okay, but he haven't opened his eyes yet. So the poet in the last two lines says that it's left only 1 hour for the coming of Christ. Now it is only some time left for the coming of the Christ, and that animal is slouching means slowly moving to where? Bethlehem. Bethlehem is a place where Christ is born. So the animal is that Spiritus Mundi slouching slowly moving to Bethlehem. And this is how the poem ends, that second coming was, according to the poet, it's an illusion that return of Christ is going to happen, and this is about how the poem ends.